Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Guys, I hope you guys are keeping well. Um, Man, it just feels good looking at the camera. I know most of you have said that, you've got rid of those bushy whiskers. Some of you have said, the beard looks better. I personally, you know what? I've got used to, being clean shaven when I was young, and for me, you just look more better. I think people view it differently. Some people think a beard looks better. Some people think you look better with clean shaven. I think it's just personal preference, right? But yeah, don't want to talk too much about looks and stuff. But yeah, um, talking about boxing, let's get into what we love talking about. Smash the like button on this video, guys. Hit the subscribe button, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and yeah, let's get into it. So guys, I was asked, Imran, you talk a lot about Canelo, Demetrius Andrade. How would you see this fight, playing out? I've always stayed quite consistent, and I've said I feel Andrade is a good fighter, and I think Andrade would give Canelo trouble. Without question, I think Andrade would give Canelo trouble. I think Andrade's got the style, he's got the movement, he's got the speed, he's got the hand speed, and he's got the movement that would cause Canelo trouble. I do think that, Demetrius would cause Canelo some trouble. He'll cause him some difficulty without question, because Andrade has that sort of style. I do think Andrade would fight a more conservative fight against Canelo Alvarez. I don't think Andrade would go in and be as aggressive as he normally is with some of the other lesser fighters that he's faced, because I think he'd know that there's Canelo will have something waiting for him if he's too aggressive and too open. I think Andrade would have to be a lot clever, a lot smarter in that fight. He'd have to use the assets, the physical ability, or the ability that he has, more wisely. He'll have to use his athletic ability more wisely, and not rush in. At times Andrade comes in and he's a bit awkward, he's a bit wild, with his head, the way he ducks and stuff. And he's got a Canelo uppercut looking, right over that. I just feel like an uppercut for Canelo may land and do some serious damage, like it did with Billy Joe. So Andrade has a very awkward, horrible style. He's not the most traditional fighter. Like, he's a bit awkward. He's got long arm, he uses elbows a lot. He's a bit of a weird like not the most smooth at times. He can look smooth at times when he's getting to work, but sometimes he can look a bit awkward, Andrade. He doesn't look, like I said, the most conventional, but he's very, very effective and very, very difficult to beat, because like I said, because of that awkward style. He's also got very fast hands. He's very quick. He's got very athletic, Demetrius Andrade. So he would cause Canelo trouble. I think what we've seen so far in Andrade's career is that his stamina looks a bit, he can be put under pressure later on in fights. Williams showed that. There is question marks over his chin. I don't really look. He's had a long career, and so far, yeah, he was wobbled a little bit by Williams, but he hasn't really shown that his chin is weak. I know the level of competition hasn't been great, but he hasn't really shown his chin is poor. However, the power of Canelo Alvarez is a completely different power that he's ever had to face. He's never been in the ring with anyone as powerful, as strong, or as big a puncher as Canelo. So again, we don't know how he's going to take Canelo's power, because there's one thing taking Williams' power, or taking, Quigley's power, or taking, Selecki's power. But there's another thing taking Canelo's power. It's a completely different kind of power. Canelo has such great shot selection. He's fast of hands when he's close at range. Christian, my good friend Christian, thinks that, Canelo won't be able to get near Andrade, in the sense that, he'd use his hands and, use his range and height to his advantage, and completely nullify Canelo. I think I don't see how, Andrade can nullify Canelo for 12. Might be able to do it for 3-4 rounds, but can he do it for 12 rounds? I don't think so. Because there will be a point in time, if you can't hurt Canelo, and make him respect your power, this man's going to start walking you down aggressively. and start hitting you hard to the body. And he don't care. Canelo don't care. He'll just hit you to the arm, the body, the leg. Like, he don't care. He's just looking to land big shots. Once Canelo knows, if Canelo realizes that I can't, like with Khan, he realized that he can't outbox Khan. Or in the sense that I think he realized that Khan was going to win the rounds against him. So he knew he was a smaller man. So what he started doing, he started becoming very more aggressive, started pressurizing Amir Khan, making him work. Because when a guy can't hurt you, here's what you do. A fighter starts to exert a lot. I mean, exert. He tries to put a lot of pressure on you. So it makes you make mistakes. It tires you mentally and physically. And that's what Canelo was doing with Khan. And I think he'd do the same thing with Andrade. The only difference is Andrade will take the shot a lot better because firstly, he's a bigger guy. He's probably got a better chin than Amir Khan. And he's naturally a bigger man, you know, so he should be able to absorb Canelo's power better. But what I've seen with these bigger guys, there's only so much you can take. It's like chopping down a tree. It's only so much a tree can take before it falls over. You know, the same way like Andrade, it's like, it'll be for Canelo, it'll be like chopping down a tree. It'll be hitting him hard. Problem is, I don't believe Andrade can hurt Canelo. And that's the big issue in this fight. If Andrade could hurt Canelo, then he'd have a much greater chance. If Andrade, like, you've got to basically, to beat someone like Canelo, you've got to be slick, but you've also got to have power. So someone like a Naseem Hamed in the smaller weight classes, and Naseem Hamed was a technically flawed fighter, but he had a big punch and he could be slick. However, as he raised, rose it, like he fought better competition, Naseem Hamed struggled because fundamentally he wasn't the most sound fighter. Hence why against Kelly he got put down a couple of times and struggled in that fight. Although he got the knockout win, which I said Naseem had tremendous power. He also against Barrera got totally, outclassed. But someone like that's slick, fast, stylish, and can punch, So I don't think there isn't anyone like that. There isn't anyone like, Floyd Mayweather's a one-off, so you're not going to get a fighter like that. But can Andrade really nullify Canelo for 12 rounds? The answer is no, in my opinion. And Canelo, like, contrary to what Christian says in terms of, he says that Canelo won't be able to get near him, Andrade will totally nullify him. That I just totally disagree. I just think Canelo will find a way. Look, thing is with a fight, not everything's scientific. Sometimes you've got to remember boxing is about two guys in there punching each other. And sometimes we can complicate the sport of boxing, We can complicate it too much at times. And sometimes we've just got to go back and it is two guys in there punching each other. And it's not a big ring. Yeah, you may think it's a big ring, it's not. Right? And to be in there with 36 minutes with someone like Canelo Alvarez is a very long time. Very, very long time. Look, people talk about the Lara fight, Mayweather fight. Those fights were ages ago. Canelo wasn't as developed in those fights as he is now. And Andrade isn't, for me, like Lara was a very disciplined and a completely different style. Andrade's a more combination puncher. He likes to let his hands go. He's a very fast-handed guy, and he likes to let his hands go a lot more. Andrade's style is a bit more like Amir Khan's style. Like Amir Khan was a good boxer, but he wasn't like Lara. Lara was like a more defensively sound fighter, more a defensive wizard, where Andrade isn't really a defensive fighter. He's a more offensive fighter, and he does get hit. It's not like he doesn't get hit. Andrade gets hit, so he's not the most slickest guys. When I think about someone that's slick, is Pernell Whitaker. Someone like Lara, Mayweather. Those guys are slick because those guys' defenses are really good. Andrade doesn't really have the greatest of defense. Like, he's decent, but it's not Pernell Whitaker or Floyd Mayweather. It's not on those guys' level. Like, he's not a slick defensive genius like that. He's more of an offensive guy to me. The Andrade that I've seen is more of an offensive fighter. And just with the attributes that Andrade has, it's going to be very difficult, the fact that he's not a big puncher, to beat someone like Canelo. In my opinion, in order to beat Canelo, you have to have some kind of power, or you have to have enough power to make him respect your power. Has Andrade got the power to make Canelo respect his power? I'm not sure. I'm not sure he has. Time will tell. Time will tell if he has or not. I don't think he has. Hence why I think Canelo will beat him and stop him and knock him out. Because I just don't think Canelo, I don't think Andrade has the power to keep him off. And even if he does keep Canelo off and does have the power, I don't think I just don't think he'll have the stamina for 12 rounds, because I think Canelo will be hitting him hard to the body, on the arms. He'll be landing shots. And I just don't think Andrade will be able to make the distance. I think it'll be very difficult. Very difficult. If Andrade was to make the distance, I'd be very impressed. Very impressed. Be very, very impressed. I just see this fight ending in a knockout for Canelo. If it was to happen, and maybe some people will disagree. Some people will say Andre's this, that, and the other. But I'm not somebody that's gonna support a shock. I know Christian likes to say styles make fights, and he likes to go on stylistically and says resumes don't matter, but it does matter, because for me, if you haven't faced top tier opposition, then I don't know how good you are and how you're going to respond when you're in there with someone like Canelo, who's an elite fighter. I don't know how you're going to be able to perform, in that kind of environment against that high-skilled opponent. Because the level of opposition you've been in the ring with is a lot inferior to what you're going to be in with if you fight Canelo. And that, to me, is a big, the experience that Canelo has, the boxing IQ, and just the confidence that he has at this point is going to be very hard to beat. Trust me when I say that. Look, sport is about confidence. Sport is about confidence. When you're as on the run and got the momentum that Canelo has got right now, he's going to be a very hard man to beat. A very, very hard man to beat. And I like Andrade. I think Andrade's a handful. I think he could probably beat Benavidez. He probably could beat Charlo. He could probably beat those guys. But Canelo's a completely different animal to everybody that Andrade, is going to be in the ring with. Canelo's a different level of fighter. He's one of the best out there. He's one of the best he's best in the world. So this is what I think. I ain't got nothing against Andrade. I think Andrade's a brilliant fighter. I think he's good. And some of you love hating on Andrade. I actually like Andrade. I think he's a good fighter. I just don't think he has what it takes to beat Canelo. I think Canelo hits too hard. He hits too hard. He's a very skilled fighter. He's very good with his feet now. Andrade, I just think he makes a lot of mistakes. I think he makes a lot of mistakes. He gets caught. He gets caught quite a bit, and I just don't think he's gonna have the stamina, the chin to hold up against Canelo. I just don't think he's gonna be able to last the distance. If he lasts the distance, and even then he may not win. Even then he may not win. Even then I'd see it being close. But I just don't see Andrade making 12 rounds. I don't. I think Andrade is too offensively blessed and too open for Canelo Alvarez, and I don't think Andrade is disciplined enough. From what I've seen so far, I don't think he's disciplined enough, because these guys that are very naturally talented, they can't help themselves. Even if they have a game plan, when they get their hands full, Amir Khan was like that. Because he's so naturally gifted and so offensively blessed, when he used to let his hands go, right, he couldn't stop himself. So because his hands were just so fast, he's found it difficult to stay disciplined. Throw three, 4 punches instead of 6, 7, 8. Because that's when you'd get yourself in trouble. But it's very hard to do that. It's very hard to do that because these guys are very blessed offensively. It's very hard to go against your instincts. It's very hard to do that. Very hard to do. That's like naturally when someone hits you and you get hurt. Some people's instinct reaction is to hit back, to start fighting back. But at that situation, when you're hurt, to fight back is crazy. But that's just an instinct at times from certain fighters. It's not the best thing to do, but that they can't help themselves because when they're in that situation, it's their instinct reaction. How do you control that? Is very difficult. It's very, very difficult. The same way with Andrade, he's going to have to be very smart. One or two punches in and out. One or two punches in and out. That requires a lot of fitness, a lot of discipline, a lot of, you got to be strong mentally, and then he's going to be getting hit as well. So he's going to have durability. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that, that he's going to have to show in that fight in order to get the W. It's not just a case where, it's just not as straightforward and it's not a sign. Like, here's the thing. We can plan and look at things stylistically from a science point of view. Oh, well, he does that and he does that. At the end of the day, like I said, it's a fight. And when punches are being landed and when you got a guy in there like Canelo, who's a fighting machine, right? If the fight's not going but his way, he's going to take the bull by the horns and he's going to start doing things that are unconventional, that don't follow the script, that don't follow the textbook. Because that's what great fighters do. They don't let fights drift. They take the bull by the horns when they see it drifting. And that's why I think I favor Canelo in that fight. Just my opinion. People may disagree, but leave your opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Leave your thoughts. Does Canelo beat Andrade? Does Andrade stand a good chance? How do you see this fight? For me, I think Canelo would stop Andrade probably in 6-7 rounds. Maybe later. Maybe if Andrade fights a smart fight, goes later. Could Andrade take the fight to decision? I doubt it very much. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.